Child's Play, woo! Yeah, I love Child's Play. It's easily my third favorite horror franchise, practically of any franchise in the horror genre. Child's Play, to me, has always been that very special, funny, crazy, over-the-top kind of horror franchise, and I just almost love almost every bit of it. Of course, there are going to be some shit piles in this list, but overall, you know, I just have to sit here and really appreciate this guy going for this concept, because this concept is in itself kind of, yes, a little bit crazy and kind of odd, but he pulls it off very well. And not just that, but like Brad Dourif as Chucky is just iconic. His laugh, the way he talks, he's just beautiful casting. There's so much here to love. You know, this movie had to have done something right. But overall, yeah, these movies are just a lot of fun. It's not something that you just go in and take too seriously, but you just have a great fun with them. And this fucking franchise has spawned so many damn sequels that truly it has to be worth talking about and ranking. And I think that I'm going to go ahead and just rank these suckers. I cannot wait to dive into this. With 7 sequels, a remake, and possibly a television show, I think it might be Sci-Fi, coming to television. This is just a franchise that I don't think is going to be dying anytime soon, and hopefully, you know, we get even more Chucky movies, because, you know, if you like something, then why would you want to see the end of it, in my opinion? I just want to see a continuation of almost anything I love, and Chucky is no exception. Gotta see more of these. So much fun to watch. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the ranking of the Child's Play Chucky franchise. And at the bottom of the barrel, we have...
I can't think of a thing to say. Fuck it.
Yeah, no one should be really surprised about this one. This movie is very much whale dung. It's bottom of the barrel. This is really the shittiest movie in the entire franchise, and it goes truly without saying. There's really no reason why I should even explain myself. This is really, if you guys have ever seen this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. This movie is really, really bad. So basically, instead of seeing what fans pretty much wanted to see with a Chucky daughter idea, and want to see where the continuation of Chucky and Tiffany would go, we pretty much get an entire movie of both of them stalking Jennifer Tilly, the actress, waiting for her to get her pregnated, so all three of them can now transfer their souls into human bodies and be a happy family. That is practically the entire synopsis of Seed of Chucky. Yes, bullshit, right? It is pretty stupid, or it could have come out really cool if it wasn't focused or based to be a comedy. If it was a horror movie, it might have actually been scary, because, well, the concept itself could have been really, really scary. The whole idea of a whole family of dolls trying to transfer their souls into a couple. Just intense, cool shit that was made to be stupid. And of course, there are moments that I actually kind of like about Seed of Chucky, and there are moments I really dig, but the moments that I really dig are actually kind of buried in all the crap and bullshit that they decided to throw 98% of the movie at you, because 98% of the movie is actually just fucking, it's horrendous. It really is. There's nothing funny about this movie. Probably the pros of the movie is that Chucky looks great and Tiffany looks great. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking about their daughter, son, I don't even know what the fuck to call it anymore. So, yeah, there's just so much here to hate. Oh my god, look at that fucking face.
What about what I want?
And moving on. Number 7.
When I sliced open his guts, I never felt so alive!
This movie's more disappointing than anything. This really makes a lot of ballsy moves, and when moves are made that are ballsy, they can be really good, but this movie unfortunately made a certain ballsy move that it just did not work for me, and that is really why it's marked down so low on this list. It really affected the movie, in my opinion, and unfortunately that's the really big downside of it. Of course, on a more positive note, Brad Dourif is great in this movie, and so is Fiona Dourif. There are some great moments in this movie. Hell, Chucky is really funny here. But overall, the movie just felt very... It really didn't make too much sense to me. Like, there's a scene where Fiona Dourif, in the beginning of the movie, meets a character named Malcolm, and in a few minutes, they have sex. But to me, that just feels out of character for her character, in my opinion, and it takes place at a mental hospital, which really could have been insanely cool. And don't get me wrong, there are some great death scenes in this movie, like really cool death scenes. There are some great practical effects, but overall the movie just did not work for me like I wanted it to. It didn't hit me like Curse of Chucky did, which we will get to eventually. But yeah, Cult of Chucky to me is just a big disappointment. I understand that there is definitely a following for this movie, and there are certainly some good aspects of this movie, but to me overall it just fell flat. And what they did with Andy Barkley was kind of unforgivable. They tried to make him a badass, and that stuff in the beginning where he's torturing Chucky's head was badass. Like, they built him up to be a badass, but in the end of the movie, he really was nothing more than just the character just fell flat on his ass. It really didn't work, and it was disappointing. That's all I'm going to say about Cult of Chucky. Getting close to that top 5. Woo!
Just think, Chucky's gonna be a bro.
Now, it's safe to say all the movies here on up are actually ones I actually have a lot of fun with, and Child's Play 3 is a very fun movie. I don't take it too seriously. I sort of have fun with this one quite a bit. To me, this is actually Chucky almost at his best when it comes to the one-liners, it comes to the funny jokes, don't fuck with the Chuck. That's just classic Chucky right there. That's beautiful. There's so many great things about this movie, especially that third act. The third act itself is it's probably the best one in the entire franchise, if not close to the first one. It really, really, really is fun. I'm not really a big fan of the whole different setting at the military base, the camp. It's just not for me. I just didn't like it that much. I prefer the city or the town. And it was alright. Not only was I not a fan of the setting, though, I really did not like some of these characters. Very one-dimensional, very cliched characters. There's this young drill sergeant I could not stand in this movie. Very obnoxious asshole, really. And Chucky always looked odd to me in this movie. I don't know what it really is about Chucky in this movie, but he kind of just feels like over chunky in my opinion. Like over chunky, goddammit. Finally, the really great shit. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't love Bride of Chucky at first. Actually, I really hated it. I did not like this movie. I didn't think it was funny at first when I was like fucking, 10. But ever since I've actually started watching it more and more and more, the more I love it. And this is easily the funnest Chucky movie in the entire Child's Play franchise, without question, honestly. Ronnie Yu, I think, has a very tremendously insane, cool style of filmmaking. Like with Freddy vs. Jason, Bride of Chucky, he just has this really fun way of filming, not taking the property too seriously, but taking it seriously enough and adding something new. Like, Tiffany's fucking awesome in this movie. I don't really need to say how hard it is to steal a scene from Chucky, but Tiffany really does a great job of taking scenes with Chucky in them and making them her own stamp. She really is a highlight. Didn't love it at first, love it now. Bride of Chucky, number 5. Oh, we're halfway there. I would actually say Bride of Chucky and Curse of Chucky to me are probably about tied. Curse of Chucky to me, though, is actually a good reprise back to the original style of Chucky and how scary he was. So yeah. And if I had to compare it to Cult of Chucky and why I like this one a lot more, I feel like this movie tried not to do... It didn't want to do anything great and big and grand with its twist or anything. It just tried to do a simple, scary story about Chucky coming back, and it really felt... It came back to the roots of what I loved about that first Child's Play movie and Child's Play 2. So I really dug it. I like the house. I like the setting. I like the characters. Fiona Ryder. I think Fiona Dourif actually is a lot more likable in this movie than she was in Cult. To me, I didn't want bum, bum, bum. Oh yeah, the remake, the reboot, whatever you want to call it. This movie is absolutely badass. I loved almost just about every minute of it, and every time I see it, I like it even more. Yes, I agree with you that Chucky does not look that charming. He doesn't look that great. No kid in the right mind would even want this doll. But to be frankly fair, I don't know why a lot of kids would want that first doll from the first movie either. I'm not trying to compare. That first one is obviously a lot more charming looking than this one, but still, like, this is an animatronic that is supposed to be kind of high tech, and I don't really think that if they're gonna have facial features move on this doll, I don't think it's gonna look charming because, well, I mean, look at him, he looks fucking freaky. Fuck that shit. Like, I would not buy this thing, but to me, I really had no really hardcore problem with the look, but overall, I think this is easily the second best, maybe it's in my top 5 probably favorite remakes of all time when it comes to the horror genre. It really tells the story nicely and actually kind of refreshes the whole kind of concept of Child's Play. I really dug what they did with Chucky. I like that he can tap into apps and make things, he can control things with his finger. Like, that's just kind of fucking awesome. He's kind of like a little Terminator, and it works. Granted, I'm not a big fan of the Stranger Things vibe they were going with Andy and his buddies, but Chucky himself, I really feel for this character. Like, he's learning how to be evil, and he's trying not to be, but he can't help it because that's how he's programmed. He's programmed to listen to his master, or the guy who owns him, and it's really unfortunately sad. It's pretty heartbreaking, actually. And also, I have not mentioned any of the kills, but the kills in this movie are fucking insanely damn badass. This has some of the best kills in the entire franchise. Easily, and it's the remake, and it has some of the best kills in the franchise. Practical effects are mixed with CGI in the perfect blend. Yeah, there are some moments when the CGI really does look fake, but overall, this is a very damn well good remake. Here, snuggled up in the number 2 spot. For obvious reasons, Child's Play, the original 1988 film, really deserves this spot, if not almost close to number 1. This really started it all. It's absolutely a classic. It really captures that creepy vibe, that intense atmosphere of whether or not you are unaware if this doll is really alive or if the kid is actually committing these murders himself. You just don't know, because the idea and concept of this killer transferring something into this doll, his own soul, is almost really far-fetched. So you really don't even know if this really is who is doing all of these incidents and creating all this chaos. So it really does have a great atmosphere and a really nice, decent story to go along with this crazy-ass concept. I could ramble on and on all about these crazy-ass scenes that happen in this movie. You could go with the voodoo doll scene, the scene where Chucky comes alive in the mother's hands and starts cussing her out and kicking and screaming. It really has so many iconic moments in slasher history. It had to make number 2. It almost made number 1. I really do go back and forth between number 1 and number 2 all the time. But really, this movie it's iconic. It really is. This is one of the highlights of the 80s. If you have not seen Child's Play, please do me the pleasure and just go watch it. Tell me that you watched it. Let me know what you think. Really, I would really appreciate to hear your response.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And the number 1 film in the Child's Play franchise is Child's Play 2 is number 1. It really is the sequel I wish more slasher sequels were like, progressing the characters in the right way, the more mature way, making the synopsis and the motives a lot more serious when it comes to Chucky trying to steal his soul. And now you bring in an older child who actually wants to be more of a protector to Andy than anything else. You know, Kyle is great. I love Kyle. She's great in this movie. Andy and her chemistry are really one of the highlights. Chucky himself is the star of the movie, though, and I just cannot help but realize that this Chucky is probably the best version of Chucky we will probably ever get. He is hilarious. He is scary crazy. Some of the best kills in the entire franchise. Some of the best one-liners in the entire franchise. That scene with him and the teacher getting the ruler beaten to death with a yardstick. Damn, was that awesome. The climax is something I just cannot stop rambling about. It is one of the most craziest climaxes, with Chucky losing his hand and putting a knife into his hand, saying, "I hate kids." That is such good fucking shit. This movie is really one of those movies I cannot stop praising. It is one of the best sequels, and it is one of the best slashers of all time, in my personal opinion. Fucking, how's it hanging, Phil? Fuck goddamn, there's so much greatness to this movie. If you have not seen Child's Play 2, but you're scared to see Child's Play 2 because you didn't like Child's Play 1, I say watch Child's Play 2 regardless, because you might even like it more than that first movie. So guys, that was it. That was my ranking for the Child's Play movies. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Of course, comment, let me know your opinion, rank the movies down below yourself, like, subscribe, and guys, as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will certainly, absolutely check you out in the next video.